So, you got your dice and your character sheet, it's time to roll some ability scores. But what are ability scores and what are they even for? Well, fear not. On today's episode of Nat 1, we'll be taking a look at the 6 ability scores, what they do, and how they affect your character. Hey everyone, I'm Ray. So if you take a look on the left of your character sheet, you'll notice there's 6 slots. Those are your ability scores. There's Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. Now let's break down each one. Strength determines your physical capability. Need to push a large object or do some major damage with that battle axe? This ability is for you. Next is Dexterity. This comes in handy for being light on your feet or trying to be stealthy. Always a good option for rogues. Then there's Constitution. This focuses more on your health and stamina. Not only does it allow your character to gain more hit points when you level up, but it also measures things like how long you can hold your breath or resist that poison ale that Crow just drank.
Wait, what?
I told you not to trust that thief. Anyway, next we have Intelligence. This is more or less book smarts. It's the more logical way of thinking, whereas Wisdom is more about street smarts and being perceptive. And last but not least, Charisma. This ability is used for negotiating, confidence, well, it's charismatic. To put it in simpler terms, we're going to use an old analogy I like to call the tomato. Imagine you have 6 different characters, each one representing a specific ability score. And what you do is you give each of them a tomato and ask what they can do with it. Looking at the first one, Strength, is how much they can crush a tomato. Dexterity would be if you threw the tomato at them and their ability to dodge the tomato. Constitution is if you hand them the bad tomato and they can still eat it without many problems. Intelligence is when you hand the one with intelligence a tomato and they know that it's a fruit. Wisdom, however, is the person knowing not to put tomato in a fruit salad. But Charisma is when they do it anyway, being able to sell that tomato-based fruit salad to someone else. And there you go. That's how you do the tomato analogy. So now that you have the knowledge of these ability scores, how do you determine what your character's ability scores actually are? Well, there are several different ways. In most scenarios, you roll your ability scores. You take 46 and you roll them and you drop the lowest one. You add them up and you jot that number down. You're going to repeat that 5 more times. Now, depending on what type of character you're trying to make, you'll plug those numbers into the ability slots. Sometimes these numbers can be determined in other ways, but it's up to the DM to determine how this is done. So, depending on what your score is, will determine your modifier. These are added to your rolls for attacks, skills, healing, and other fun stuff. Now, 10 is your average score, meaning you can gain no modifier bonus from that. But as that number gets larger, and with each even number, that modifier goes up by 1 point. 12 is 1, 14 is 2, and so on. However, if the number is lower than 10, well, that's when you're going to have a bad time. Every odd number below 10 gives you a negative modifier, meaning you subtract that number from your roll. 9 gives you -1, 7 gives -2, and, well, you get the idea. Don't panic, though. If one of your ability scores is a bit low, sometimes you can make some of the most memorable moments during a campaign. And if you're still uneasy, you can always raise them up at certain levels. That about wraps it up for today's episode. Tune in next time as we take a look at one of the many ways these modifiers will be used. See you next time. Take care.